Art Vinyl community, Aris here, with another video. Boiling hot here today, absolutely mental. Can I just say, this was a bit remiss of me last video. I finished my last video and loads of comments, thank you so much. And I looked and I had about 207 subscribers, which I hadn't even noticed. And now I'm up to about 234. So can I just say first, thank you everyone who subscribes and everyone who comments all the time, and it's really appreciated. I mean, I started this about at the start of the year just to deal with my rapidly unravelling mental health and relationship breakdown, and having to do a fairly stressful job in my lounge, which and I watched Steve Carson's video about, you know, starting a channel, and I thought I'd give it a shot. And apart from a couple of competitions I entered, which is the legend that is Dr. October and Low Noise Jason Skills, I sort of don't do competitions and that now. I just thought, you know, I chuck videos out, and if anyone wants to hop on board, please hop on board. And it's so lovely that so many people have subscribed, and trust me, if I get to that 1,000 subscriber mark, then I'm monetizing. I'm going totally multimedia, metrosexual. I'm absolutely killing it. I'm turning into a Donald Trump. Of course, I've still got these Harris Pilton lean mean grilling machines. So I'm trying to shift. I've still got a warehouse full of those. Operators are waiting to take your call. That's obviously pending the lawsuit I've got with George Foreman, which still rumbles on. I've offered to settle that with a fist fight in the pub car park of his choice, but he's wisely decided to avoid that. He probably realises that he doesn't want to book an appointment with the twin ambassadors of pain. But yeah, I'll update you on that as it continues. But yeah, some recent rock vinyl buys really. I did go to record store day. I'm sort of trying to ease off on it really, record store day. So I've only got one record store day purchase, but yeah, a couple of recent buys. Got this secondhand. Sex Pistols, Flogging a Dead Horse. This is their collection of their first 4 singles and B-sides, and some, or 7 singles I think. Some mods and sods, great. I love that sleeve. That's such a Britain in 1979 sleeve, isn't it? The weird thing I was thinking about the Sex Pistols, how consuming music has changed. By the time it got to about 91, there was a big push on like the 15 years of punk. And I'd never, even though I was a huge music fan and then I was really into alternative music, the Pixies and Who Could Do, Black Flag, because there was no internet or YouTube, or all I could do was listen to Radio 1, I'd never heard a Sex Pistols song by 1991, which seems incredible now, doesn't it? It seems utterly incredible. And I remember on the 15-year anniversary of punk, I went out and bought Nevermind the Bollocks, which I've lost now. I don't know where it is. And I was a bit disappointed by it. It sounded like sped up rock and roll. And really, the only way I can describe it is I wanted to hear something like, you know, the Buttle Surfers, just some absolute mayhem. But yeah, they were the most important cultural happening in my lifetime. They've changed. Almost every record I've got in front of me here is almost due, or certainly post 77 is due to the Sex Pistols. And you know, just the fact reggae, dance, you know, they introduced so many things, because you know, those early punk gigs, the DJs would play reggae between the sets, and you know, just such a big effect. But yeah, I like this. You know, you can't really knock Anarchy in the UK. God Save the Queen, and it's got a cover of new Stone Roses. The Stooges, no fun, and I actually like the version of Stepping Stone on here as well, which I know Kurt Cobain always cites Nevermind the Bollocks as an influence, and I'm always surprised until I heard Stepping Stone, and the guitars on Stepping Stone really sound like Nevermind era Nirvana. But yeah, so we've got Flogging a Dead Horse by the Sex Pistols. Yeah, got this one cheap, it's knackered, but the vinyl sounds good. Next up, someone who comments all the time is M, one of my first ever subscribers, the legend that is M, who I think put me through an initiation test early on by asking me about G.G. Allen. And M suggested I get the Pretenders' first album, and I knew I could find it cheap around here because I've seen it a few times, and I got it cheap. I might have owned it once, and I can't remember, maybe on CD, but I did get it, and I really enjoy it, much more than I remember. I mean, I've always loved The Weight. I always thought The Weight was one of those great new wave songs. But yeah, this is a fantastic record actually. Precious, The Phone Call, Tattooed Love Boys, The Weight, Private Life. I never realised that Grace Jones's Private Life, which is always one of my favourite 80s songs, was an original by the Pretenders. Brass in Pocket. It's all good, this. it really is a great album. Really enjoy it. So thanks them for just mentioning it. And I knew I could get this cheap, and yeah, there's about 6 copies within about a mile of me actually when I started looking. So yeah, good times, Pretenders, fantastic. Next up, Patti Smith's Easter. I've always been a big Patti Smith fan, really. One of the first sort of what was considered weird at the time albums was Patti Smith's Horses. I bought, and everyone, you know, a bit like the Sex Pistols. Once bands stopped banging out records and being popular in the UK, certainly, and probably all over, they just were kind of almost like written out of history, and which isn't a bad thing. I like that. I think one of the biggest problems with music today is our obsession with nostalgia. And this is coming from someone who only shows old records, so hypocrite warning, as they say. But yeah, Horses I bought in about 1990, and I loved it. I loved Horses by Patti Smith. Maybe don't love it as much now. And I bought Easter, and I really like Easter as well, even though it's pretty mainstream, and it's got a biggest hit in it, Because the Night. Did she write that and Springsteen cover it, or did Springsteen write it and Patti Smith cover it? I think, I can't remember, I can't be bothered to look. But yeah, very mainstream. It's got some great stuff on it, including Rock and Roll N-word, which you might struggle to get away with now. That'd be interesting. Yeah. But yeah, great album, Easter. Never had it on vinyl, always had it on cassette. And yeah, glad I got this. I think this is a first press, got a feeling. But yeah, that's Patti Smith's Easter. This is my one record store day. The first video I ever showed on the VC was Vinnie Riley by the Jurati Column. Sadly deleted that video. It was fantastic. Maybe I'll put all those videos together in a box set one day and stick them out on a record store day. Vinnie Riley, The Triangles. I love Vinnie Riley. One of the first members of sort of Factory Records. He was around in the Joy Division days. His first record, The Return Of, which I've got a beautiful vinyl copy of The Return Of Vinnie Riley, Jurati Column, was produced by Martin Hannett, who did all the Joy Division stuff. Martin Hannett, a man who makes Phil Spector look like a sane, upstanding individual. But yeah, bought this, which is an extended version of the Der Triangles single, which they've now turned from 3 tracks to 10. But really, I bought this for the live concert in 1981. Vinnie Riley, a guitarist, mostly instrumental, fantastic, maybe one of the greatest guitarists ever to come out of the UK, but he's such a modest bloke that, you know, he doesn't seem to care. But I would imagine an influence on Johnny Marr. He plays with an Echoplex effect, which is astounding, and he got an incredible sense of melody, and his instrumentals are fantastic. I just love Vinnie Riley, really, and I love the Jurati Column, who is is essentially the Jurati Column are Vinnie Riley. So this was my record store day buy. So thrilled to get it. It sounds fantastic. It's on bloody coloured vinyl, but never mind. It's all right. But yeah, that's my one record store day buy. And my last purchases, I decided in a kind of a 2 fingers to record store day to go for charity shop records that are always charity shop records that I just love. First up, Mrs. Mills. Look, Mum's No Hands. Mrs. Mills. What can you say about Mrs. Mills? Glad Mills from East London. Huge in the 60s. Knocked out 40 albums in 15 years. Take that, the Ramones. She played what's called stride piano, which is where you play the melody with your right hand and you sort of play the bass guitar parts with your left hand. Very hard to do. My gran had about 30 Mrs. Mills records. This contains the Green Green Grass of Home, and I went to the doctors and said, I can't stop singing the Green Green Grass of Home. He said, you've got Tom Jones disease. I said, is it common? He said, it's not unusual. Boom. Yes. Like and subscribe. Let's get to 1,000. Yeah, so she plays this Bauhaus piano, and it always reminds me of growing up and getting... Every Sunday when I lived in London, I got dragged to the pub and watched adults become alcoholically inebriated in the afternoon, and there'd always be a woman playing Bauhaus piano, that sort of out of tune, beautiful Bauhaus piano, and it always reminds me of Mrs. Mills. I love Mrs. Mills. I can't tell you how much I love Mrs. Mills. A big influence, Mike Barson from Madness says he was influenced by Mrs. Mills, which I can believe, because he also, those early Madness records like My Girl and that, always had that Barrelhouse guitar sound, but piano sound. But yeah, Mrs. Mills. Look, ironically entitled "Look, Mum, No Hands," which seems odd for a piano player, but yeah, I love Mrs. Mills. 99p, and I feel I've overpaid, to be honest. Less than a quid. So there you go. And last up, I love these. I absolutely love these. Everyone in the UK will know these. These Impact studio to stereo albums. Beautiful. Sort of, they collect sort of like the easy listening tracks of the day that they pull off albums by orchestras. Like this has got The Stripper by Dave Rose and his orchestra. This one's got the amazing Soul Coaxing by Norrie Paramore and his strings. I tell you what, Soul Coaxing by Norrie Paramore and his strings. If that's not playing at my funeral, then I'm not dying, because that is, I could listen to Soul Coaxing by Norrie Paramore all day, and I think it was the track played on Radio Caroline, on a lot of the pirate radio stations in the 60s when they were leaving the air. I love it, and I mean, everyone knows Wheels by Joe Loss and his orchestra, and if you don't, then YouTube Wheels by Joe Loss and his orchestra, and you know it. And the sleeves are great, and I mean, nowadays these would be called audiophile recordings. They're just great recordings. They're just absolutely brilliant. Bloody love these. So these were my records. Again, 99p I paid. So again, I feel like being ripped off slightly, but these are just a thing of beauty, I'll tell you. So there are my recent vinyl purchases. If you can get me to 1,000 subscribers, guys, then that would be great. I can go off the cliff. 15 adverts a video, and I'll have a hot tub installed in the flat probably. But thanks for watching again so much. Thanks for subscribing. Really meant a lot to be over 200. Thank you so much, and there'll be more videos soon. Thank you.